Hello and welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst that horror has to offer and have a lovely talk about it. And sometimes we have a little bonus episode where we talk to people bringing you brand new horror experiences. And this is just such an occasion. I am joined today by a very special guest. Meghan Adara is the star of a couple of independent horror films you will be seeing right now and shortly coming up, including The Cellar, the R.I.P. Man, who you've heard us talk about already this year, and Amelia. Megan, hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. I know we've been trying to arrange it for a few weeks. Our schedules have not quite managed to meet up, but here we are now. It's very nice
Yeah,
of you to come and join us.
thank
Um,
you.
I mean, where to begin? It feels like you've had in the last year or so, you're appearing in lots of horror. When
Yeah.
did this all start for you?
Um, Basically last year in January, um, with Jamie actually. And then yeah, basically from there just took off a little bit.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, all of these films. I know that the Cellar has had some exposure, and you've seen some awards to your name as well. Congratulations! That has seen some screenings at a few festivals around the world already, right? But the other films we mentioned, Amelia and the R.I.P. Man, are they still in post right now? Still in filming in some cases?
The RIP Man is still in production and Amelia is in pre-production. But we start shooting Amelia in April, so literally next month, so not that far off.
Okay, so just a couple of weeks before people start filming that one. But let's dwell on the one that's already out right now. So The Cellar, I haven't unfortunately been able to see it myself yet. We will catch up on that soon, I'm very sure. But I saw the awards. Congratulations on those. Were you able to be live at any of those festivals where you were awarded, or did you find out virtually?
Um, so Haunted Horror was the one in New York.
Mhm.
I didn't win there, but the film won. And I just decided to take a little trip with my boyfriend to New York to get the award because it was if you don't go to the award and they give you like the actual award thing,
Yeah.
don't get it.
You've got
Like
to make sure you
they
get
won't
it then,
send
right?
it. Yeah, so I was like, well, one of our backers, he lives in Texas. He was gonna go to the awards ceremony and pick it up for us. Um, but then we still wouldn't have had it. So I was just like, well, we want the award here. So
Yeah.
I flew out to New York and went to that. And that was really great fun. And then I also went to the one in LA. And I didn't realize that I was up for Best Actress, but I also won there. And I think we won quite a few awards. I think we maybe won like four or three in total.
I definitely
Uh,
saw at least three that were listed, a couple
yeah,
specifically for yourself. So congratulations. I mean,
it was really
I
fun.
should, I feel I should redo your intro, award-winning actress. So that's really exciting, and what nice recognition for this.
Mm.
Was The Cellar your first feature-length film, or have you got even more in the back catalogue before that?
Um, I'd done a couple of features before. One was actually with Jamie, and then I'd done some other ones, but they were kind of like filmed, and then it turned out that, what they got wasn't enough, or like the audio wasn't good enough, so they never really came out.
So
But yeah,
yeah, sort of production challenges mean that we didn't
yeah,
get to see those ones. But we've talked about this with a lot of our guests. I think this is the perils of independent filmmaking sometimes, that it is a very, very difficult process. Sometimes things happen that you don't expect. So congratulations on not only having something you've worked on that audiences are able to see and enjoy, but then getting some awards for it as well. That's great news.
thank you.
Okay, so um let's rewind even further if we can here. So you found yourself, in front of the camera in a number of horror films. What attracted you to the genre? Were you a horror fan before this happened, or is this just the job that came knocking?
No, I've always been a fan of horror. When I was like younger, I'd watched films that were like, set at like age 15, but I
Hmm.
was like 11 or something. So I shouldn't have been watching them, but I really like I get drawn to like dark, intense like films and like the atmospheres. And I've always been drawn to like drama type of roles. So like ITV and BBC, they do like some amazing like beat like dramas. And I've always loved them because I find like the concept and the characters really like compelling. And there's like mystery there and yeah, I just love doing anything with like, a hard-hitting like
Some real
storyline.
have a like character drama
Yeah,
as well. And like
yeah,
let's face it, not to show our international bias here, everybody, but BBC and ITV got some of the best in the world. Come on.
yeah, they do. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Some brilliant drama coming out of both of those things. And we
Oh,
see so many people,
mm,
particularly in British horror, like have quite a background
yeah,
in sort of television drama as well. I guess it's where the production is and where people are making things as well, right? So
yeah. Um, so yeah, I kind of just really liked the drama genre. And I found like I could connect with the characters more, understand what they were going through. And yeah, basically from there, it was just like, when I left uni, I was just trying to look for work with like student short films. And I think because it's like student, they always go at least sometimes the horror route because it's easier to do than a hard-hitting drama without some horror elements in it.
yeah.
Um,
I
so
guess
that's
it's where
how
the
I got.
funding lives as well,
Yeah,
right?
it
Like I think
is.
horror has a proud history of making more money than it costs, whereas some others tend to be
Yeah.
not that making any film isn't a gamble, but
Oh
horror
no.
has a good track record of return on investment, right? So for people who are focused on the business side, not that that's the most
Mhm.
important, you get some
Yes.
good chances there. And I think people do wonderful creative things with horror as
Oh
well,
yeah.
so one to celebrate.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at some of the different characters that you've
Mhm.
been playing. So let's go in order of the way they're written. So we obviously met with some of the team from the RIP Men. That one's filming right now. Can you tell me a little bit? Are you one of our cast of victims being stalked by the toothless killer?
Um, I don't want to give too much away.
Okay, we won't.
Um,
No spoilers.
yeah, I don't know really what I can say. I'm not in it a lot. I'm not like obviously one of the main characters. But I am in there. So you'll just have to wait and see.
Wait
Obviously,
and
it's
see
also
what they
not,
come up with.
yeah. Also, it's obviously not my production. It's very heavily there. So I don't want to
Yeah.
say something that could
Get you in
ruin.
trouble. Yeah, we'll make sure we don't have spoilers. Well, we met with Owen from that film as well, and he was
Oh yeah,
telling us
he's
about
absolutely
his role of as the character. So without spoiling any of the scene, have you been doing much filming with Owen live, or have you been
fine.
spared to see him in his full get up too much?
I've never met him, Owen. I've met Jasmine and the other, like the group of
Hmm.
friends. Um, First day, I've only done 2 days on the shoot. First day I was like in the background, and they were filming a scene. And then I just did another scene with them, I think earlier, maybe like 2 weeks ago, I think. And yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
it sounds like they're having a lot of fun from talking to the guys. They seems like they're having a lot of fun filming it together on location and so on as well. So we look forward to more information on that one. Leaning into the cellar, then, can you tell me a little bit about your character in this
yeah.
movie?
So I play Abigail. She is the lead. I play the lead character in the cellar. She's come from a broken family. Her dad left her when she was born. Didn't want to have children. Didn't like the burden, and left. Her mum to raise an only child, and her mum resented her a bit for, making her love of her life leave her. And yeah, she knew that, her mum didn't really want children.
So quite an
Um,
isolated character that you're
yeah,
set up as
yeah.
here.
Um, and then basically she meets her best friend while working. And her best friend and her family are like they're her basically like her family essentially.
Mhm.
They really care for her. They support her how like a normal family unit should, and her best friend is basically like her sister. But unfortunately, her friend dies all of a sudden, so then she's back to square one, and she falls into this really dark, destructive path, really depressed, anxious, falls into a bad crowd, in, you know, the drug and um, alcohol scene. And one day she just decides that this isn't what she wants her life to be. She wants to have ambition in her life and do better for herself. And that's when she goes to the church to find refuge, to meet people who have been through similar things to her, so that she doesn't feel like she's, on her own. But yeah, it turns out that the church isn't what she thought, and it wasn't a supportive group, but a cult. And she
I'll
finds
get
herself,
you.
yeah, and she finds herself entrapped in an underground cellar, with no recollection of how she got there, why she's there, who took her there, and doesn't know where she is, and has to fight her inner demons and the real life demons that she comes across while trying to escape. So yeah, that's
Very
Abigail.
interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. And then, we've got the elements of the cults that we've got leaning into there. Like, I love the setup that you mentioned, just finds herself in this place with no memory how she's got their big Saw kind of vibes there with a mystery that you get
Yeah,
to set
yeah,
things up with. And we know how series like that go very well. So
yeah,
until recently, apparently, but that's news for another time. But uh yeah, so that's exciting. And then moving on to your latest project that's just going into pre-production now. Tell me a little bit about your Amelia and your role in that one. From what I've seen, it's quite a different role for you.
yeah. So I'm the lead again. I play Amelia. And she's very different in terms of there is similarities between Abigail and Amelia. As I said, I like going for these sort of types of roles. So underlining there is obviously similarity of like trauma and in different ways.
Mhm.
Uh, but yes, she's very different to Abigail. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to spoil it. But basically, it's set in a little village in England. All the neighbors know each other. As you were describing, there's like curtain twitchers. They know everything that's going on.
Mhm.
Whoever's just moved into the village, like they know instantly. And yeah, they're very close community. But then all of a sudden, you know, dead bodies start turning up, and for this community that knows everything that's going on, they're completely and utterly shocked to find out that there's murders happening in their little town, that they would never thought would ever happen there. And they have to try and, figure out what's going on before, it's too late. And yeah, that's the new one. It will be more gory, more jump scares, sorry. And yeah, I think a bit more gore compared to the cellar because there wasn't any gore in the cellar. So yeah, it's very exciting because I've not actually done a film with jump scares and gore before. So I'm very excited to start working on that.
Oh, that sounds lots of fun. So building up some
Yeah,
range there. So you've got some psychological horror and torment that
yeah,
you're going through to more, in your face and intense horror. And big fan over here. I love a bit of a mystery. We're not, we don't know who necessarily is behind
yeah,
these things from the neighbor's perspective, and we never know who's going to be next. So, yep,
yeah,
color me intrigued on both of those ones. Now, we've got to make sure that we covered the important business part of these ones, of course. So, lots of your films you're working on, I know, so The Cellar is completed, but R.I.P. Man and Amelia are both in various stages of funding and support, right? So, if we have tickled anyone's fancy or piqued anyone's interest, whichever one you feel more appropriate for your lifestyle, everyone listening, um, where is the best places that they can follow? And if they want to see how they can support the project, if it's something they want to get involved in, where should they
yeah.
be looking?
So for Amelia, we set up an Indiegogo. I'm handling all the social media. So I've been very like on hands with
Mhm.
that. I've also been made executive producer as well, so I'm really trying to
You're
get it
wearing a
out there.
couple of hats here, Megan. Come on, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's my first producer role, and I'm really enjoying it. It's nice to be able to do something in a production where you're not just an actor. You come in, you do your scenes, and you leave. It's nice to see the process of behind the scenes and have some say in what's going on.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, so we got an Indiegogo. We actually met our target of 5 grand the other like a few maybe a week ago. But
Congratulations.
thank you. But because we've met our target, we're now in demand on Indiegogo. So the Indiegogo is still active. We have plenty of perks available. You can have your face on a missing poster if you so wish. You can come for a day on set as an extra. You can get a signed copy of the poster, a digital bundle, which would be like the script, the movie at the end, and maybe some like posters or behind the scene
Mhm.
photos. Got executive producer roles, associate producer roles, a message from Amelia, which is pretty cool. And yeah, there are some more, but there's so many I can't remember.
Well, we
But
will
yeah,
we will drop in the show notes where people can follow
cool.
along with those ones. So if they've seen your face that we're having a conversation together or heard us talking about it, and
Hmm,
this is something that's interesting to you, I don't know
hmm,
what app you're using when you're listening to this, but if you find the notes in the episode you're listening to at this very second, your friend and mine, Ben Errington, will have put in there the links to the campaign. You'll be able to click through and you can just thank him in your head, and then you can
hmm,
look and have a good read at what the perks are. And if this sounds like you want to support, we
hmm.
are big fans of independent horror over here. And you know what? Especially with people who are making their start in these things, this is how you can support them. And as we've seen in a couple of our recent episodes, I think there are people, particularly in the UK, making some wonderful movies with budgets that you would be surprised
Yeah,
just
that's creative.
just how lean they are. And this is the week in the news cycle where lots of people are talking about, you know, people spending $300 million on movies, and yet you see the things that we can produce with just five,
Too.
less than £10,000. It's really impressive what independent filmmakers actually do
Yeah,
with a really meager budget.
yeah. I think it's very impressive how far indie films have come and how, as you said, on such a small budget, a film can literally look like it's had a huge budget. And the quality is as good as a film that you would watch on Netflix or
Yeah.
Prime. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think the thing is as well, it really shows the passion that people are working there because let's be super realistic, Megan. I think that, with all the best in the world, and when you're making this money, I don't think any of you are staying in a five-star hotel, arriving at set at 11 a.m., doing a couple of hours work, and then going home because you're going to film this over a month or so, in which time you're pulling a luxurious salary and making sure you can afford 3 houses around the world. These are people who are passionate about what they're doing, and are in some cases working super long hours. No one is leaving these jobs rich until someone really notices you.
Yeah.
So applause for all of the hard work that you're doing, and I hope a few people
Oh,
get
thank you.
on board and help you make it happen.
Yeah.
Um, so in terms of release dates, and I won't hold you to exact specifics, just
Mhm.
broad, as much as you know or as much as you expect right now.
Mhm.
Um, any ideas that when people can be thinking about when they'll be able to see this? I guess The Cellar is the easiest, as it has had some screenings
Yeah.
already.
Um, so I know we've got distribution deals in different territories, including the US, Holland, um, India, obviously here, and some other ones as well that I can't remember. But as for a release date, I'm not sure. I mean, Jamie might know, but whether Jamie decides to tell me or not, um, is
Whether he's keeping it for a surprise. What we will do,
yeah,
I'll put this as a mental note in my
yeah,
mind. If we have anything that is if he has like a quarter or a month in mind when we might expect it, I will find out from him and I'll drop it in the show notes there. But for the others, I guess you're kind of bound by how the rest of the production schedule goes for the R.I.P. Man and Amelia, right? You'll give people updates on the socials as that
Oh, yeah.
progresses. But
Yeah.
are you hoping in both cases for what, late this year, early next year, maybe if all goes to plan?
I think with the seller timing and with the RIP man more specifically, I think they've only got three more shoot dates left, which isn't long. Um, and when the seller finished production, we finished in like April or something.
Mhm.
And yeah, in April. And I mean, it was already edited and done by September for our premiere.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
so probably with the RIP man, it'll probably be edited. They'll probably have a premiere this year.
Wow, cool.
And then it'll go through all the same stages as the seller did. So probably it'll be coming out next year. And I think definitely Amelia will be coming out next year because we hadn't even started
Yeah,
shooting.
long old
Yeah.
road for that one, but we will keep people posted on the news as and when you have it.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
Megan, before I let you go to
Mhm.
enjoy what is peek behind the curtain, everyone, what is a Friday evening over here when we're speaking? Before I let you go and enjoy a Friday night, and I go and spend some time with my family as well, let me ask you a couple of questions for you as we have a podcast called The Horror Hangout here. So we're going to talk about what your prime hanging out and watching horror experience is for you. So when you as a film goer, now that you're old enough to see all these movies,
Yeah.
um, where do you what's your ideal situation to watch a horror movie? Do you want to be on your own, in your room in the dark? Do you go to the cinema with a load of friends? What's your ideal horror watching situation for you?
So when I was younger, it used to be on my own. My mum used to work like quite long hours, so to pass time, I'd watch films. So yeah, it used to be on my own, and I'd just sit there and watched it. But it was never in the dark because there was always a slight fear of whatever I was watching, could be real.
Yeah.
So always the light on. Whereas now, if I watch a horror film, with my boyfriend, we'll be in bed, we'll have our little two doggies, and we'll have some snacks and some drinks, and we'll sit there and watch a horror film. Yeah, that's
Nice.
goes here now, yeah.
That's the go-to experience. Okay, now you've conjured the idea of snacks, prime
Hmm.
prime movie snacks. What we talking? Are we talking nibbles? Are we talking popcorn? Are we getting a pizza involved? What's the ideal?
So it'd be like maybe a pack of like Haribo Star Mix,
Good choice.
maybe a pack of like Golden Bears, some crisps, maybe some chocolate, um, yeah, and then for drink it'd be like Pepsi or like maybe a gin and tonic,
Get
and yeah,
sticking.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess this is the joy when you are watching these things. You can be super luxurious with your choices. In the cinema,
yeah,
you've got to make a
and it's
single choice, really.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, like you can go mad when you're doing these
yeah.
things at home. One of our previous guests was talking about they're cracking out one of the charcuterie boards. They're getting their meats and cheeses out there.
Oh, nice. I have to start doing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You've made it now. You've made it now, Megan. Three movies under your belt at this point. You go.
Yeah.
You get super fancy. Get the kettle chips on.
Yeah, actually, I do eat kettle chips.
There you go. You see,
Yeah.
you're shopping at
Uh,
Waitrose before you know
no,
it.
Waitrose. I can just about handle Tesco's.
Oh, we'll get you there. Um, and then so finally, right, picture the scene, if you
Hmm.
will. You got friends coming round. They
Hmm.
know. They say to you, Megan, you're in horror movies, so we're coming round to watch a horror movie. Your choice. Mixed crowd. They're not all horror hardcore. They're not all your nan. Like a big mixed crowd are coming round. You're putting on a sort of a horror hangout night, and you're going to watch a horror movie. You are solely in charge of picking the movie for everyone
Hmm.
to watch. What you sticking on?
Probably Sinister with Ethan Hawke.
Okay.
Yeah. I find it really eerie, and I like the like use of the VHS and like the detective work in it. Um, I find that one eerie. Or probably It, just purely on the new It, just purely on how terrified it made me. And I know that it would probably terrify my friends because some of them don't like clowns. So
Yeah.
I know that that would probably really terrify them. So yeah, probably one of those two.
Nice. Good choices. Very good choices. And, you know, thank you for not saying, oh, I want to watch a really old film like Scream 4, which would make me literally turn to dust by being
Yeah,
like, I'm much older than this. Um,
I'm to scream.
well, brilliant. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today,
Thank you
Megan.
for having
Where can people follow you if they are so
me.
inclined to keep up with your latest news?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram under Megan_Adara. I'm on Facebook as Megan Adara and Twitter as I think Megan Adara.
Yeah.
Basically just Megan Adara.
That's your name. You'll turn up. Yeah.
Yeah.
If in doubt, look for the one that's got your picture next to it, right?
Yeah, I'm in a green not green red turtleneck. So and I got my long blonde hair down. So yeah,
Yeah. You
easy
can.
to find.
You'll find. Well, they'll find you from there. Well, in that case, all that remains for me is to thank Megan for joining me this evening, for thanking you lot for listening along. Thank you to Ben for the edit. Thank you to the good people at both Acast and Rusty Quill for keeping us in fine company and hosting us in their various networks. Thank you to our mate Taj Easton for our theme music, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now, everybody.